We have a history in this country, starting from its founding, of trying to meet a promise that was well articulated in the Declaration of Independence, but was not at first perfectly met and has never been perfectly met. The idea that all men are created equal. And in the context of the time, men meant mankind, everyone, that everyone is created equal. And of course, people were not treated equally in the beginning at this nation's founding. But we've gotten better, gotten a lot better. And as time has progressed, the further along the timeline we've gone, the rate at which we've gotten better has increased. I mean, you think about the difference between 1864 and 1964. Pretty significant improvements in quality of life and the way that people were treated, and equality across the board. Obviously not perfect. A lot of things needed to happen in 1964. But what was it? Now I'm trying to do math at 2 in the morning. 14 years later, I was born. 14 years after the passage of the Civil Rights Act. I got to grow up because of that work, because of that looking ahead to posterity, and because of the work to make things better, to raise people up, to grant them rights. I got to enjoy a childhood where I didn't have to worry about what my dad had to worry about. And I couldn't even conceive of what my grandfather had to worry about. And I remember growing up and hearing stories about Jim Crow, reading in history books about chattel slavery, seeing depictions on the silver screen of Nazi Germany in World War II, the Holocaust, the horrors that people are capable of inflicting upon other people. And there was always a detachment from all of it, and a gratitude that came with that detachment of, I can't even contemplate a world where that is possible. I can't even contemplate a people who would be willing to do such things to other people. And naively, in my youth, thinking that's the way it's always going to be. We're always going to be moving forward. We're always going to be progressing. It's always going to be getting better. Then last year, we passed into statutory law language which strips the civil rights from an entire category of human beings based upon an innate quality that they have no control over, being unborn. That's not a protected class, for damn sure. Unborn. And it's interesting, we talk about disparate impact. You guys are going to have to figure this one out. Yeah, I don't think you've thought this one through. What happens when somebody figures out the disparate impact that one of your rights enshrined in here, the ability to kill your unborn child up until the moment it draws its first breath of fresh air, conflicts with another category? Which group of people do you think are the most disproportionately represented in those slain by the industry of abortion? Well, to borrow a phrase from Representative Frazier, it's those who look like me. It's amazing how the concern for disparate impact has a cutoff at the most vulnerable, the most helpless. Suddenly we don't care anymore. And now Now what we're going to do is we're going to change the Constitution of the state of Minnesota so that for perpetuity, for all time, until such time as the state becomes better, gets better, we're going to calcify the permanent stripping of civil rights from the unborn. This vote here, I mean, it's been a rough term. I'm not going to lie. I've seen a lot of darkness in this chamber. But this here, this is, I have to imagine, the most consequential vote that I will ever take. The decision whether or not to put into the highest law of our land a repeal of civil rights for human beings. And it's interesting, because I did bring that up earlier when we were debating one of the amendments. And I saw some looks of confusion, some shaking of heads, like you either didn't know what I was talking about or disagreed with it. I think it might have been the second. I don't know, can't say for sure, can't impugn motives. But either way, are we not dealing with human beings? Is that what we're saying here? I think it's worth contemplating before we cast this vote. Again, just the gravity of it. The gravity of applying pressure to the button and having the board light up next to your name and recorded in the journal of this House for posterity, declaring that Representative Engen's son, if still in the womb, simply does not matter. That any baby at any stage of gestational development simply does not matter. It's a hell of a thing. I hope you're really deeply contemplating what you're about to do, what the impact of it is going to be. I never thought I would be in one of those stories that I was told as a child, at a moment where the unpopular thing to do was affirm humanity. I mean, that's what you're banking on, right? I mean, and again, that's not impugning motives because this is a ballot question. So the implication is that you believe that the majority of Minnesotans are with you. And if that's true, then what I'm saying is true. The unpopular thing to do right now, in this moment, is to affirm the humanity of the unborn. I'm comfortable with that. I just never thought I'd have to do it. I've said on this floor before, I'm comfortable being the only person standing against everyone if I'm right. I just never thought I would have to do it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.